How y'all doing today? How y'all doing today? Welcome back to the Count It All Joy podcast with your boy Will. And I'm back with another episode today, y'all. And today I want to be talking about I want to be talking about I want to talk to you guys about something that I struggle with. Definitely. Right. I hear this. I've been hearing this since I was little. And when I say little, I guess probably my brother's age at this point. So maybe second, third grade, fourth grade. But I want to talk today about how we speak and our words and how important they are and significant in our everyday life. And really the severity of it when it comes to just the outcomes on life and how we maturate and how we grow as people. The words we use and how we speak are extremely important. Uh but yeah, before I get into this, guys, like, share, and follow. Uh yeah, share with your friends. I hope you guys are enjoying all the episodes up to this point. Trying to get these out for you guys every week. But yeah, again, today we're going to be talking about, like I said, the way we speak. And man, it's so many things you could talk about with words and speaking. But first, I want to talk about something that I've heard since I was little. And I hear it to this day. My mom, my grandfather have told me since day one there's power in the tongue, right? And I've been, I don't know, I've been spamming it ever since. So just even the way with my friends, it's something that's just always stuck with me because it's something I take very seriously. Even joking around certain jokes, certain things, I don't even joke around certain ways because I do believe it's biblical. It's power in the tongue. Like the things you say, they will come to fruition, right? If you're speaking negatively, negative things will happen. If you're speaking positively, positive things will happen. Now, both things will happen no matter what you say. But we do have power in the words we say and what we say out loud and what we put out into the air. So I truly do believe that. And the verse that it actually comes from is Proverbs 8:21. It says, "The tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit." So, I mean, I think that's self explanatory, but basically the verse is saying that, again, it's power, it's life and death in the tongue. So, the words we say, the words we use, the things we say to others, the things we say to ourselves, it's life and death in that. So if we're speaking life, we could us down talking ourselves or down talking others. That's a negative effect. Now, just because we talk bad about others or we're preying on people's downfalls, which hopefully none of y'all are doing that, right? But if you're that doesn't mean that bad things are gonna happen to them. But sometimes the devil's working and he gets something moving, so you just never know. And then on the flip side of it, if we're speaking positively and we're speaking things into fruition, or I don't even like to say existence, but if we're speaking positively and speaking life, I'm not saying that specific thing that you're talking about will happen, but again, I just go off the framework that if you speak life and death, then again, if you love it, then you'll eat its fruit. So whatever that is, whatever type of fruit you're bearing, or whatever type of fruit you're I guess um spewing out, that's what will come. Whatever seeds you're putting in the ground. But um I think one of the most important things about the way we speak, it impacts the people around us. Again, this is something I have struggled with, and I would say I don't know if struggle is the right word, but at certain points, at certain points I do struggle with it. I think that something that it really does apply to every aspect of life, the words we use. I think for me, most importantly, it's my loved ones and my family and friends. Now, I have different rapport with each and every one of my friends, right? I think most of my friends, I won't say all my friends are combative, but we go back and forth a lot. right? They'll say something and I'll say something, and we'll be going back and forth, and it's love at the end of the day. Because that's how we speak. We could call each other names, right? We could talk crazy to each other, but we know it's not coming from it's not any ill will. It's not from a malicious place. But you can't talk like that with everybody, right? And that's something I'm trying to get better with. I I'm very animated. I clap my hands when I'm talking. I escalate my voice when I'm talking, and everybody in my life does not like that. So I'm still trying to figure out, and I'm still trying to adjust how to speak the right way to everyone, because you can speak one way to someone else, and you can't speak that way to others. And I think that's something I've actually learned as being a leader. So as far as like being a captain, being a leader on the team, you don't have to be a captain to be a leader on the team, but sometimes it goes hand in hand, right? But as far as me, I'm knowing firsthand how it is being a leader on a sports team, and I'm talking specifically basketball, but this could be just in life. But from my experience leading a team, is you have to you can't talk to everybody the same way. Jimmy, he might look. I tell this story all the time, or I give this example all the time. But in high school, I was a leader of that team as well, one of the leaders on the team as well. I mean all of my years on all the teams are on, but I'm specifically talking about my junior and senior year at Peachtree Ridge. Had a dude. He was. I took him under my wing a little bit. It was this dude named Wesley. Wesley is Soj. Shout out Wes. That was my guy. That was my youngin. He was like, I don't even know what the term would be, but you know they say big little bro. He was a year younger than me, but obviously I was older than him. He was like 6'7". I just repeat what I said. He was. I'm just gonna say embellish his height so I don't have to. Anyway, he was. Let's say he was 6'8", right? He was 6'8", and I'm the height I am, but it was a respect factor there, and he knew that everything I was telling him, even when I was screaming at him, it was coming from a place of love because I just wanted to see him get better. Not saying I should have always been yelling at him, but that's how he reacted well to me screaming at him and grabbing his shirt and getting in his face, right? Acting like I wanted to fight. He reacted well to that. Then you have other people who they're not receptive to that. There are certain people that I've seen it firsthand. There are certain people that you do that to and they shut down. They can't deal with it. Uh, so I just think that's an example of you can't speak to everybody the same way, and I'm talking about that in a sports sense, and it's a little bit more tense, and it's a lot more testosterone going on, a lot of ego, so it's a little bit different, but it still applies to your everyday life, and you just talking to your significant other, you talking to your mom, your brother, your dad, whoever it may be, your sister, brother, cousin, whoever, your aunt, uncles, whoever you're talking to, it still applies. Everybody doesn't want to be talked to the same way, or they don't uh I guess converse, the same way. So I think that for me, and again, I tell y'all this all the time, but when I'm talking to you guys, I'm also talking to myself, because a lot of these things, everything I'm saying, I need to apply to my life as well. Nobody's exempt, especially not me. So this is just a place for me to also talk to others because I'm thinking about it for myself as well. But again, for me personally, that's something that I'm still working through with my tongue and the way I speak to people. And a lot of it is I'm really irritable. I get irritated a lot of times, and it takes just the smallest thing. I have a lot of pet peeves. I have a lot of things that irk me, and it just takes the split thing to just kind of get me. I've gotten way better over the years, but it's still certain things I'm like, bro, like what are you on? Like what are we doing? And I react accordingly. Well, it's not really accordingly, but I just react how I react sometimes. And I'm growing, I'm getting better, but that's my example, I guess, and how it will impact you and the people around you, because the way you speak to people, it can make or break your relationship sometimes. Now, I was talking about that aspect of impacting people, but also you speaking life. Now, talking about the verse, speaking life and death. You speaking life into your friends and family and close ones, that could impact them positively as well or negatively. Uh, your friend's going through something. We've all been there. Our friend's going through something, or our friend is going through a rough time, or they're dealing with this, they're dealing with that, and you're just, man, yeah, that's tough. That's unfortunate. I mean, you might be right. It is unfortunate, but you can't give me any, you can't give me anything more than that. But that's where it's speaking life into your friend, giving him wisely counsel, letting him or her know that everything's okay, and telling them the truth, telling them what they need to hear, but also trying to speak life into their situation, trying to pour into them, trying to lift them up. That always makes a difference. Whether they see it right then, whether it makes a difference right then, or it makes a difference later on, right? It might not change things immediate, but it might in the long run. And then on the flip side on the other side of the spectrum, you speaking negatively, a friend. We can give an example like this. Your friend is venting or low key just talking down on somebody, right? Or talking down their situation. And they're talking about something that they're going through, and they're talking about it in negative light. And they're saying how, yeah, this is ticking me off and blah, blah, blah. So maybe want to do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. And instead of you, nah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I feel like you need to look at it like this. You egging on like, yeah, man, you should do this. You should blah, blah, blah. Let them know you're not going. All that stuff, it leads to other things, right? So I think there's a time and place for everything, but we just have to be intentional with the words we use and who we're using it with, and how we're using them with the people around us. Because again, our words will affect. They do, and they will always affect the people around us, whether we recognize it or not. Uh, I think this is another thing that my mom and my grandfather, they have told me since day one. But the words you use, it shows your heart. So whatever comes out, that's what's in you, right? I think a lot of times people say things and then they're like, I didn't mean that. Yeah, you did, brother. Yes, you did. Right? You said it for a reason. It was harboring in your spirit. It just came out, right? And I think we've all been there. We said things we didn't necessarily need to say. Like we didn't need to say, right? It wasn't needed. It wasn't a necessity. You should have kept it to yourself, right? It should have been an intrusive thought. But we went ahead and spewed it out. And that could have its positive effects, that could have its negative effects, right? And I feel like that is a real thing. Whatever we're saying every day, that's what's in our spirit. That's what we're pouring into our spirit. That's what we're pouring into our everyday life. That's what we're engulfed in, or that's what what's the word I'm thinking of? I guess consuming ourselves with. Uh, and then that's what other people are gonna see. That's what we're gonna show to others. That's what we're gonna show to ourselves. So I think all of that plays a role, in, I guess, the speaking and the words we use and the specific words we use. Again, it will show what's in us, right? Pause. Uh, this is another thing, and I'm gonna bring up another verse after this. But I think we need to think before we speak. I think that is a huge thing. That's something I don't do a lot. I keep it $1.50. I don't want to say, a lot of times I do, and then let's be honest here. A lot of times I'll think like what I'm about to say, or what I'm thinking, how would this affect whatever's going on? It could be an argument, it could be a regular conversation, or I could just spark it up. Yeah, I could have sparked up the conversation, right, with this quote, with this whatever. What are the consequences behind that? And consequences don't have to be negative; they can be positive as well. What are the consequences behind this remark I'm about to make? It might be a 15% success rate. I'm gonna see if that 15% is working today, right? That's sometimes how I operate. I'm not saying it's the right way, but that's just sometimes how I go, right? And a lot of times it's my downfall, especially with the people close to me. I know what emotion it might evoke, or how it might make somebody feel, and then I'm like, well, it needs to be said, or sometimes I'm not thinking. I'm just saying what pops in my head, and so I shouldn't have said that. Why did I say that? Right? So I think we all need to be intentional about thinking before we speak, because, boy, I feel like we've all said things that, again, going back to earlier, we've all said things that we were not supposed to say or we didn't need to say, but we said it, and now we have to deal with whatever that is. So I think thinking before we speak, and then talking about the verse behind it, quick to hear and slow to speak. In the verse, I again, my mom and my grandfather have, literally poured into me since day one. My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everybody should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry, because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. Let me say that again. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry, because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires, right? That's James 1:19-20. I think that is one of the verses I feel like I need to look at every day. I don't, but I need to, with how I am. A lot of times I become angry before I'll listen. Like, I'll listen, right? I'll listen. This is how it is. I have it backwards sometimes. I'm quick. I'm quick to speak, slow to listen, and quick to anger. Right? I can only speak for myself. That's how I am sometimes. I'll hear somebody say something goofy, and it ticks me off. I'm getting irritated thinking about it right now. I'm clenching my fist. Y'all can't see me. I'm clenching my fist right now. I'm thinking about goofy remarks right now. Stuff, when people say goofy things or people say stuff that lacks common sense, my skin starts to boil. I don't know, something inside of me, pause, just starts moving. Pause. Come on, Will. Man. Anyway, let's get back on track. Look though, all jokes aside, I I can only talk personally, but I know people can relate. A lot of times I am quick to anger. I'm quick to speak, and I'm slow to listen. I'm waiting for you to finish so I can respond. So, or I won't even let you finish, right? I'm going to interject. Objection, right? I'm not even going to wait. Objection, for sure. Like, no, that's cap. A lot of times that's how I am. And again, I feel like it has its time and place, because sometimes it's just friendly banter and it's okay. But a lot of times I pull that out in real arguments with significant others and family members, and it doesn't fare well, right? I don't think that it really benefits anything, because it doesn't. When we're so quick to become angry and mad and irritated, what the verse say? It says human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. That is a fact. I can tell you from firsthand, because I used to have real anger management problems. I used to be ready to fight. I was smallest dude, but I've always been feisty, but I'm ready. Like, I don't care if I lose the fight. It's the principle for me. I don't like disrespect. I don't like people talking crazy. So I'm ready to spew that anger out, however it may be. Obviously, that was when I was younger. As I got older, I'm picking my battles wisely, right? But uh it's still off the fact that our anger is really, though, our anger is a human emotion, right? And there's times where you need to get angry. There's times where you're going to get angry. It's an emotion. But most of the time, when we get angry, we don't direct it to where it's supposed to be. We can't drop it immediately. We can't calm ourselves down. We let it foster into something else. And sometimes we harbor anger, right? And that turns into other things. Um, but again, I think this verse is very, very, very pivotal to our lives, because this helps us in our everyday life. It doesn't even have to be talking to others, but just, I guess it's a process, right? Being quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger. quick to listen to the other person. Stop trying, drop your pride for a second and let them get off. Even if they're wrong, let them get their stuff off. And I'm talking to myself here because it really gets me. People will say stuff or we'll be arguing. They'll say stuff that's just so facetious and just, not facetious, but erroneous. Like, just so incorrect. And I can't, sometimes it's just hard for me to sit there sometimes and let them finish because I just don't agree at all. But I think, again, drop your pride at the front door and be quick to listen. Listen to what they're saying. Actually soak in whatever they're spewing. It might be some bull jive. It might not be. But let's listen to what they're saying, and then we can react accordingly. Then we could be slow to speak. Then we could be slow to anger. And I think when we operate like that, it helps. And trust me, I know firsthand, when I actually take this advice, it helps. Right? Letting them, even for the other person. Now, this is for you, but it even helps for the other person. When you say you're in an argument, you're in a real argument, and the person might have said something, or they're saying whatever, and they're trying to give their side of the story, even if you don't agree. They're giving their side of the story, and you let them go on for 10, 15 minutes, and you're just sitting there. And then you're like, okay, I hear what you're saying, but this is how I feel. That person, most people, and I've gotten a lot of arguments, a lot of them. And I'm telling you from firsthand, from my experience, it helps when you sit there and let them get their stuff off. Let them speak. Let them have their chance to tell their side of the story. Because a lot of times we don't see it the way the other person sees it, right? So if we let them say how they feel, maybe we'll hear something that we didn't see either. And then also, it's a respect factor there. Oh, they let me speak. Okay, now I'm a little bit more calm. It's less tense in the room. So I think all of that plays a role, and it's important how we speak to people. So I think that's also important. Again, I'm going to say it again, human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. I think that's extremely important. I think we need to make sure we remember that. And I'm talking to myself here. Human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. Now, I kind of mentioned this a little bit when I was going on a little tangent right then, but let's not be quick to respond and quick to have a rebuttal. I think a lot of times when we're in an argument or somebody's saying something that you don't like or agree with, we're quick. We're not even listening to what they're saying anymore. We're finding, and this is a tactic that you learn. Really, I learned this in my everyday life. But going to college and learning the science behind it is actually funny because wow, I was doing this and not even knowing that this is a real tactic. But sometimes when you're arguing with somebody, and I guess I'm giving free game right now, right? But use it wisely. Anyway, when people are arguing, when you're arguing with somebody, it's easy you're listening to what they're saying, and you just find the one thing they messed up on, or you find a word that people get into semantics a lot. Let's just call it how it is. People like to get into semantics. That is one way to literally direct the conversation to something else or the argument to something else. People want to get into semantics and they try to, or find one wrong thing that the person said or stuff like that. It's toxic. Let's keep it a buck 50. It's toxic, right? And it's just, I'm saying all that to say, when we're doing that and we're just listening to find something that we can, I guess, shoot down or just disagree with or prove wrong, it's not really doing anything. It's just pride. It's our pride getting to us at the end of the day. If you're really, because arguments need to happen sometimes, right? Some people might disagree, but I feel like every healthy relationship, there are going to be arguments. I'm not saying there needs to be argument every day. I'm not saying there needs to be argument every week. I'm not saying there has to be argument every month. But in a relationship, whatever relationship, that could be platonic or a marriage, whatever, there are going to be arguments. There are going to be disagreements. But how do you guys go about those disagreements, right? How do you guys conduct yourselves in those arguments? Is it just a shouting match, or is it okay? You tell your part, I'm gonna tell my part. Like, is it a collective thing, or is uh, offended versus defendant, right? What is it? So I think when we go about it as it's a collective thing, and we're trying to reach a, I guess when we go about it as we're trying to reach a collective point, or we're both trying to get to the same point, or we're both trying to see each other's point of view, everything's a little bit better. And all that goes into the way we speak. And also, this is the way we're thinking as well. But again, like I said, what we say, it comes from our heart. So it really can go into something deeper. But my whole point is, yeah, we should not be quick to respond. Let that thing soak in, right? Let them, whatever they're saying, be receptive to it. Actually listen to what they're saying, and be careful about the words you use in response to that. Because again, that could be positive or negative, depending on what you say. Uh, Going off the verse a little bit, some more, saying things out of anger. Again, I'm gonna say it again. Human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. And when we say things out of anger, whatever we're thinking or feeling is gonna come out. I I've heard this my whole life, and I really do believe this because again, I've seen it firsthand. I hear things and I don't believe it. I have to see it for myself, but I've seen this firsthand. It's three people in the world, right, that will always tell the truth. Number one, an angry person. An angry person, a fierce person will always tell you the truth because they can't control themselves. They just have to get it out there. They're fiending, right? A drunk person will tell you the truth. That's number two. A drunk or intoxicated fellow or feller, however you want to say it, will tell you the truth. Again, I've seen it firsthand. Third. A child will tell you the truth. For the most part, right? Now, all of this, y'all can disagree, but I've seen it firsthand. For the most part, this is how it goes. And you can say, oh, these other people tell the truth. I'm just saying, these three categories, 10 out of 10 success for me. I've seen it firsthand, and it's crazy. You have a little kid tell you, ooh, you stink. Bro, what's up, bro? Why are you on that? Did you have to tell me that? That wasn't smelling good? I was like, what are we on? A kid will always let you know when you smell terrible. Put some deodorant on. All right, your little brother will let you know. I'm not saying that's my case because I keep the deodorant on me. Don't come at me. I'm just saying for y'all because I know some of y'all out there be musty. All right, look though. All jokes aside, that's a quote though that I really do. I don't want to say I live by, but it's something that's just funny to me, but it's also a little bit truthful. Uh, Angry people, children, and drunk people will tell you the truth, right? But I say all that to say we need to be careful what we're saying. Like, we don't need to be saying things out of anger. We don't need to be saying things and we should be able to control what we're saying. If we can't control what we're saying, that's a problem. And again, sometimes it's hard to control what you're saying when you're angry, or when you're drunk, intoxicated, when you're not in your full state of mind, or when you're a kid because you just don't know better. All three of those things are things that happen. And as you don't have to be an adult, you can be a teenager, you can even be in elementary, whatever it is. When you know better, do better. So you know what's supposed to be said, you know what's not supposed to be said. And when you choose to do differently, that's when it becomes, you know, I guess a negative thing. That's when it becomes something bad and it's not innocent anymore. So again, that's kind of just going off of what I was saying beforehand about the anger. And human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. And I've said that, I don't know how many times I said it, but I keep saying it because it really hit me. Like, that human anger it doesn't do anything for us. Now again, we're going to get angry. That's something that's inevitable. But how do we go about that anger? Do we let it linger? Do we let it foster and turn into something else? Do we does it develop into a different thing, right? Or do we identify it and nip it in the bud as soon as we can? We're gonna be angry about things. We're gonna be mad. Sometimes we're gonna be infuriated. Things like that happen, depend on the severity of the situation. But as people who are trying to live, for God and trying to do as much right as possible, controlling that anger, controlling that fury or whatever, that's definitely something that is pivotal for us, right? Kind of wrapping up a little bit. I also believe, and again, all of this is tied in, all this is intertwined. Everything I'm saying is really intertwined. You can go down rabbit holes with all of these different points, but I'm trying to be a little bit quicker, a little bit more quick with each point. The more positively we speak, right? I think the better your outlook on life will be. So I believe, everything isn't going to be great. Everything isn't going to be all roses and dandelions and all of that, right? Everything isn't going to be amazing. But the more life we speak into our lives, the more positive, I guess, our paradigm, our point of view, our outlook on life will become. So again, going back to, I guess, the beginning when I was speaking, as far as there's power in the tongue, I'll say the verse again, Proverbs 8:20-21. The tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruits. So the things we say and the things that we spew out into our everyday life, we'll see those things come to fruition. That's why, and that's another thing my mom always told me and my grandfather always told me. And if you know me, I always say it. And it's not me being just trolling or just saying it to say it. It's something that I truly believe. And I just don't know what God has for me. So that's why a lot of times I'll say stuff. Somebody asks me what I want to do or what I'm going to do later on, or what are my plans after school or whatever. They could be talking about anything. And I'll be like, well, I'm going to do this, but I'll say God willing, because at the end of the day, whatever God's will is for us, that's what's going to happen, right? That's what is made for us. So a lot with everything, I try to make sure I say at the end of it, God willing, or if it's God's will, this will happen, or blase, because if it's God's will, it will happen. It was made for us, so when, again, that's just a part of trying to speak life, not death. And again, I think all of it just plays a pivotal role in how we interact with others, and then how we grow as people individually. All of it plays a role. All of it's important for us. And again, this is something that I'm talking to y'all, but I'm talking to myself, because it's something I need to work on, or something, and it's an area of growth for me. So yeah, I'm hoping that y'all also can receive what I'm saying, and maybe you guys will go through the same things I go through. Because look, I'm not perfect. No one's perfect. We all do things. We all mess up. But boy, when I tell you, the things that irritate me, it's so many things that irritate me, I couldn't even make a list. Like, people ask me what are my pet peeves. I don't know, brother. So many things that irritate me. And as I get older, I recognize the things that irritate me, right? Because it's a lot of things. There are a lot of things that irritate me and things that make me angry. But the older I get, the more I see it, the more frequent it becomes. And identifying these irks, right? These irksome activities that people do. Anyway, or actions rather. My whole point is, we all need to be extremely intentional about the words we use and how we use them. Because if we choose to use them in a negative light, I believe negative things will happen. If we choose to speak positively, then positive things will happen. So that's just how I go about life. I think that the most important thing is that we think before we speak. And again, be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger. I think when we go about that mantra, you could call it's a verse, but when we go about that mantra that way, and we're gonna mess up, we're gonna fail. But when we practice it and it becomes a regimen of ours, I think only good things can happen. Like all these things you don't have to do, but all these things do help you become a better person. So if you believe in it or not, these verses, this scripture, they help you just become a better person in general, whether you're a Christian or not. Obviously, I'm a Christian, but I just believe these principles and these things that God is telling us, it just helps us become better people in general, no matter who you are or what you do. And it applies to everything in life. But again, y'all, it's power in the tongue. We need to be careful what we say and how we say it and who we're saying it to. Because we do have that power. The words we say, they can come to fruition and they will come to fruition. So we need to be intentional and take it more seriously with the words we say. Even jokes. I'm a jokester. Don't get me wrong. I love all different types of jokes. I love comedy. But there are certain jokes that I don't even cross over because you just never know. We don't want to play around with certain things. And when you say it once, that's all the devil needs sometimes, is you to say it once or think about it. So we just need to be careful. But yeah, yo, that's really all I have for y'all today, man. I just wanted to, this is something, all these things that I talk about are things that I've dwelled on and I think about all the time. And I talk amongst my friends with, and I sit in my bed 3 a.m. thinking about all these things are topics that I think about all the time and I try to apply to my life. And when I get the chance with my friends, I let them know what I'm thinking as well. Yeah, y'all, but I hope you guys can receive this and maybe it helps some of y'all. Maybe you guys can relate to some of the things I go through and some of the, I guess, thoughts I have as well. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree. Let me know if you guys have anything to add to it. Also, in the comment section, you guys leave some comments for me. Let me know what you guys enjoy. Let me know what you guys want to hear more of. And let me know if there's a specific person you guys want to hear from. So, or maybe there's a different segment or type of whatever you guys want to see. Just let me know. I'm open to all criticism, constructive criticism, and I appreciate you guys for listening in. Yeah, I need you guys to like, share, and follow the Spotify page, follow the Apple Podcast page. I post on my Instagram, my YouTube page, so you guys need to go subscribe to that. I don't know if there's a way I could put the YouTube link inside of the Spotify description or whatever, or my Spotify page, but I'll figure that out later. Again, I thank y'all for joining. I thank y'all for listening in. I really appreciate y'all and all the love up to this point. This has been something I've enjoyed doing, and it's just another outlet for me to use. It's another vehicle I could use to reach out to people. So I'm appreciative of it. And I thank y'all for listening, man. I thank y'all for just showing all the support, all the love. So I appreciate y'all for listening in, man. Stay blessed, stay prayed up. Keep God first. Love, attitude, gratitude. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.